Hey guys, check this out. We're here with the Mahindra XUV700. You might recognize this Mahindra XUV700 or 700 as I very wrongly called it apparently. A car that we gave a pretty rave review to just last year. How would it go more than just a week of testing? Over a long-term test. A few months, in fact. And I said, give me your money as long as I can say what I truly believe about this thing. And good guy Mahindra, they're like, sure, why not? So today we are looking at the XUV700. Jacob and I have spent a lot of time in this thing now. It has been absolutely bashed by car journalists over like the 12 months it's been on the press fleet. We've had it for a few months now, and honestly, it's a pretty good story. The one thing I really wanted to talk about though as well is reliability. How has the mStallion petrol engine been? Because it's actually a really new engine in the grand scheme of engines. It only came out in like 2021. So we have a lot to talk about and cover in today's review. I'm going to tell you everything I have loved, all the things I've been a bit about. Of course, we're going to performance test it, and I will tell you about my experiences with this thing over the last few months. Alrighty. Let's get into it. As time has gone on, as the world has become more and more, frankly, up and also more expensive, the XUV700 is pretty cheap, actually. Starts at 37 grand drive away, just under. And this one here, the AX7L, well, that's top of the range and it costs 39,990 drive away. That's really good pricing for a 7-seat SUV. Now, here's how you know that I can say whatever I really want. I think the looks are okay. I don't think the XUV700 is the most beautiful car in the world. I think it's okay. Though design is subjective, so let me know down in the comment section what you think of the looks. I will say I do love the dual daytime running light there. You've also got sequential indicators, which, you know, it's usually like an optional box on an Audi. You've also got pretty bright LED lights there as well, which is very good, especially at night time. I've driven this thing in country Victoria at night, and I have had zero issues with vision, so that's very good. You've got a big grille here, the new Mahindra logo, twin peaks. It looks pretty damn cool. You've also got a radar down there. Now, this doesn't have an ANCAP safety rating, but it does have a global NCAP safety rating of 5 stars. And unlike the Scorpio, which didn't do so well because it didn't have much in active safety, this has a full active safety suite. And yes, it will drive itself down a highway. One of the best, but we'll come back to that. Seriously, it's really, really good. This one is finished in the white paint. I don't think it's the most inspiring color, though you can get a bunch of different colors and they look very cool. Let's check out the side. Okay, so coming to the side, it is a big SUV, and I do love the fact that it has glass absolutely everywhere. Believe it or not, though, it's not actually that huge. It's about 4.7 meters long, which in terms of length is not too long, which is great for city driving. I live in an urban environment, and trust me, I'd much rather have this than anything much bigger. You have these pretty nice 18-inch alloy wheels here. They are wrapped in Apollo tires to the moon, dads. Look, they're not the best tires. I've had better tires on cars. People attacked me for dare saying that Apollo wasn't the greatest tire brand in the world, and maybe that's true. And maybe you're right. Maybe they're the best. But these tires specifically, not very good. Being the AX7L, you get the 360 camera, and it is a very good camera, although it is maybe a little bit slow, a little bit choppy, but still at this price point, the fact you get it is unreal. I love these door handles here. It's very modern. Press a button. Oh, they pop out. It's of course keyless entry and go. When I sent Jacob over to Mahindra Research Valley to, you know, socialize a little bit more, get out of the house, speak to some engineers, he saw the door handles of these are tested by robots. They literally set up, you know, very expensive equipment just to open and close doors thousands and thousands of times, just to make sure that these are reliable. That's pretty damn cool. And by the way, that actually extends to so many different parts of this car. If you want to learn more about Jacob's trip, I've linked his vlog down below. It's really cool. As I said though, very glass house. It does mean that you get great visibility all around too, which I've loved. And you've got a pretty cool floating roof design there too. It's nice. Let's check out the bum. Alrighty, let's talk about the bum now of the Mahindra XUV700. One of the things I love about Mahindra is that they're not just trying to copy everyone else with their designs. This is really unique. And at first, to be honest, honest, didn't love it, but it's grown on me a lot. I really quite like it. So you've got this cool 3D effect lights here. XUV700 AX7L. A lot of badges there, but that's how everyone knows that you've got the best of the best. You've of course got your Mahindra badge there. Otherwise, it's quite simple. It's quite big, and that's good for boot space. So let's talk about that. Now, as I said, this thing is a 7-seater, which means that yes, with all 3 rows up at 4.7 meters long, you do get some space, and it's actually quite impressive considering how not long this is, but it's still not amazing. You do get a full-size spare wheel though underneath the car, which is phenomenal at this price point. But if you're like me and you don't have more than one friend, aka Jacob, I've also got my fiance. I do have my doggy Willie. But if you're like me and you only have 3 people in your life, you can just drop. Did I just refer to my dog as a person? He is to me. It is super impressive, like it's a huge amount of space. You can also drop the second row really easily. That creates a completely flat loading floor, and then you just get a stupid amount of space. Okay, but enough dilly-dallying, let's show you out the interior. So I think you'd be pretty surprised if the first thing you didn't notice is that I'm quite bright in here. And that's because the XUV700 only comes in one colorway, at least here in Australia, and that is this white faux leather. None of it is real, not that I care. In fact, I genuinely believe this is one of the nicest places just to sit, sub 40,000 Australian dollars. It's really impressive. I love this soft touch material here. It does actually feel like real leather. Got some more here on the doors, on the armrest. You got these Mercedes style seat adjusters here, which is, honestly, it could be straight out of a Mercedes. In fact, it could be. Just like these screens here. They're actually straight out of Mercedes technology. So 10.25-inch displays, they both work really well. The only issue I've had with this car over my long-term journey with it is, well, the Apple CarPlay. In fact, the whole infotainment display on a couple of times just shut off while I was driving. And then restarted, of course, but it's still a bit disconcerting. So in my only trip to the dealership in this car, I went there because of the infotainment display, which is a very 21st century issue, isn't it? They actually just updated the firmware, did a hard reset, and lo and behold, it has worked ever since. So there you go. The answer is yes, I did try turning it off and on again. Okay. But other than that, it has worked very, very well. You do have some strange quirks to it, like you got 2 menus that say fun in XUV700. The first one on the left, it kind of just takes you to the same thing. It's a bit weird. Anyway, and then fun with XUV700 number 2 takes you to performance screens with a lap timer. So very interesting. We actually joked around saying you'll never use that. Well, Jacob drove this thing at 192 kilometers an hour at Mahindra's Research Valley. So, hey, I can see that they probably did use it in testing. The other display is a digital instrument cluster, and that has worked pretty much flawlessly. Shows a bunch of information. It's actually very good. You can also change the display between normal, information, and minimal. Though I've kept it on normal, I must say. One thing I was quite worried about was how the air conditioner would perform in the Australian summer, because as we know, it can get pretty hot here in Australia. Well, it turns out it can get pretty hot in India as well, because these air conditioner controls, my God, they work very well. The aircon is very cold and it blasts it very hard. So, hey, India obviously has the same issue with us. In fact, I would argue it probably gets hotter there. In terms of storage, it has been fantastic. You get 2 cup holders here, unlike the Scorpio where you only get 1. Weird. A pretty massive glove box that's dual tiered. You've also got this center armrest that does slide. It has enough space inside of it, but also an air conditioning vent, so you can keep things cool in there. Just really cool attention to detail. You've got your shifter here, of course, for your 6-speed Japanese-sourced automatic transmission. We'll come back to that. You've got 2 USB-A ports, a little phone storage area, which I have loved, by the way, because you don't need your phone on the wireless charger. It just makes it hot because you have to have it plugged in. It's wide Apple CarPlay here, and it's fantastic. It means I can keep it out of the wireless charger and someone else can use it, like my partner, which has been awesome. You've also got this little dial down here, which you can use to control the infotainment display, though I've just ended up using my finger. It works probably better, to be honest. The other thing I love is the giant panoramic sunroof. It's really good. The fact it opens so far back, it's almost like a convertible experience in here. The other thing as well, which I slammed on and I shouldn't have, is the Sony speakers, because after a little bit of EQ tuning, they are awesome. In fact, it's genuinely one of the best. And Jacob, when he went to India, he spoke to the sound engineer on this, who he said was quite giddy, but he was so proud of the sound system in here. And to be honest, I can understand why. They have tuned it pretty well. And if you do a little bit more, you can tune it better. With the steering wheel, because it is fake leather again, you have to remember that the majority of India actually treats cows as sacred as part of Hinduism. So I thought, well, this faux leather, that does feel like a real leather, to be honest. Well, it might just break down over a while. Honestly, it looks just as it did in the original review. Just as nice. It's working totally fine. The other thing I mentioned like 6 months ago now was that because the interior is white and you do get these very comfortable and supportive seats, I do really like them, but because they're really, really light in here, very creamy, oh, well, I thought that they would get damaged and dirty very easily. Honestly, not at all. There is a little bit of dirt here at the top of the seat and down the bottom as well. It's a bit blue from blue jeans, but really that happens with any light interior. And frankly, I'm amazed it's not a lot worse. So it's held up very well. Let's check out the back seats. Okay, so back seats now of the XUV700. Well, first of all, bar Felicia. That's right, you can just slide the passenger seat forward. It's got what is often reserved as a very luxury feature. You've got a little pull tab there and you can move the seat forward from wherever. That's actually quite impressive. I'm 5'11". I've got heaps of legroom, heaps of toe room, and headroom is also really good. I'm also loving this sunroof because it gives just so much airiness to the back. You've got soft touch materials in a lot of places too. You've got a couple of air vents, a little storage area, though I'm not sure what you'd fit in there, and a USB-C port, which is a little strange because you don't have any up front. But hey, at least you get a fast charger in the back, I suppose. You get the same really nice fake leather as up front. There used to be a headrest here, which I said in the original review was actually kind of annoying. It would block a bit of the vision, but someone has removed it and might have just kept it as like a trophy or something because it's just not in the car. Pull this down, you got a nice soft center armrest with a couple of cup holders. Again, better than the Scorpio. And you can also do things like this. Recline the seat. Not that you probably want to, because you might start encroaching on the third row passenger space. So getting in is actually really easy. From the passenger side, the seat just flings forward and it's super easy to get in. Again, at 5'11", I don't remember it being that good, but I do have plenty of space, at least in third row terms. I've got enough leg room, an okay amount of headroom, and actually plenty of toe room. You also get fan controls in the back, which is really good to see, especially at this price point. You've got cup holders, air vents, and a 12-volt socket in the back too. So even though I haven't really spent much time in the back, I can say I've had friends in the back and they've all remarked how comfortable it is and that it's really nice. So yeah, no different from my original review in that it's pretty damn impressive. But how does the XUV700 go in terms of straight line performance? Let's use our specialist timing gear. Figure that out. Alrighty, mummies and daddies, it's time to launch the Mahindra XUV700. Last time we got just under 10 seconds. Let's see if we can best this. Brake boosting, here we go, daddies. Ooh. Oh, Apollo tires are doing much better today. Come on. Feels like a bit of a hot hatch, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, we did even better. 0 to 100 in 9.18 seconds. It's actually pretty good for a 7-seat SUV. Alrighty, I think it's time to talk about the pretty spicy topic of reliability. Let's quickly talk about the engine and more specifically reliability. What have been my experiences driving this thing around, but also what have been your experiences? You see, I went online, I trawled the interwebs. Yes, even I have access to the internet, believe it or not. I wanted to learn everything I could about this. This is the 4-cylinder mStallion engine. Some consider me to be a stallion, so I think it's apt name that I drove this around for so long. It's a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine. Puts out 149.2 kilowatt of power, 380 newton meters of torque. Why they quote it down to the 0.2, I don't know. I guess maybe it's just how scientific Mahindra really are. Now, like me, you might be surprised to learn that these engines were first revealed in 2020, not long ago. In fact, a lot of car companies have completely stopped engine development. For example, Volkswagen, they are not developing any new engines. So for Mahindra to bring out an all-new engine, I thought that was pretty curious. You see, Mahindra have an agricultural background. They're out there building diesels, baby. We've seen it in the Mahindra Scorpio, which we also did a long-term review on, and you can click the link down in the description below to watch that. But suffice to say that it's really a good thing. From what I could find on the internet, there is nothing that is being reported en masse about issues with this engine. Obviously, every new product in this world could have issues. I won't name names, but some are very famous Japanese companies known for their reliability have engines that when they first come out have a lot of issues. This has been on sale now for over 3 years, 0 issues. I want to read some of the things that I learned about this engine. Again, none of this has been reviewed by Mahindra. It's just what I was curious to learn. So this is a direct injection engine, which is one of the newer technologies. It's good to see. Really interestingly, in India, diesel engines are the most popular engines, and petrol engines haven't really been around, but there's been this shift recently in India to go for petrol engines just because they're kind of better in urban environments. Diesel's great on a highway, but everywhere else it's kind of So they've done things like integrated the manifold into the cylinder heads, and that helps to not only improve performance, which this thing is quite powerful and very torquey, but it also makes it very fuel efficient. And I'll talk about that when we come for a drive, but this thing's been really fuel efficient. It also has a long stroke for better low end torque. It's got an offset crankshaft to reduce frictional losses, a variable displacement oil pump, and a 250 bar injection rail system. Now that's a lot of jargon, but essentially what it means is that this engine is future-proofed for emissions. And actually, as it stands, this thing is so good with emissions that it doesn't have a petrol particulate filter, which a lot of European cars are having to come with, and they have a lot of issues associated with them. A lot of research and development has been put into this very new engine, including other things as well, like NVH. They've done a lot of things like put felt in places to make it a quieter engine. Sponsored or not, that is really impressive stuff. And where Mahindra is really investing a lot of money into the smaller things like felt on the inside, other manufacturers are doing things like removing engine covers from their cars just to reduce costs. So, I don't know, pretty damn cool. Let's take this thing for a drive though, and I'm gonna give you my driving impressions. Alrighty, so long-term driving impressions with the Mahindra XUV700. First of all, I've loved this. I love the turn signal blind spot camera. Look, it's a little bit laggy, but still, you get it and it actually works fine. I can't believe it has been combined 3 months. That's that's a long time. Oh, what's just fallen off the camera? Yeah. How the heck has that fallen off? You know who could have fixed this? Daddy Jacob. Come back, Jacob. He'll be in the next video, don't worry. Oh, mStallion, touch me. Yeah, I quite like this engine. So, what are my long-term thoughts on this thing? And honest long-term thoughts on this thing. Remembering that this isn't a review, but Daddy Mahindra, they're pretty cool. So, overall, I have absolutely and honestly loved driving this thing around. It has a really good suspension tune to it. The engine, oh, that Daddy mStallion, it's quite a stallion. No, it really does put out like plenty of power, plenty of torque. I really thought I would hate the Apollo tires, but honestly, they're actually fine. In the wet, they're not the greatest, but other than that, it's fine. And it's not really a product of Mahindra. It's got plenty of up and go. Most importantly for me though, in these trying bloody times, has been fuel efficiency. On the highway, I have been getting 17.3 kilometers per liter, which I hate that metric, but it's essentially about 5.8 liters per 100 kilometers. And overall, I'm sitting at about 13 kilometers per liter, which I'll put up on the screen now, but it's actually really good for a 7-seat SUV. This is one of the benefits of having a new engine, like a properly newly developed engine. It's built to modern standards, unlike a lot of car manufacturers these days. NVH, or noise, vibration, and harshness, is incredibly good. Almost 14,000 kilometers. This car has 0 rattles, 0 squeaks. None. There used to be some sort of whooshing noise over the top here, but it seems to have gone. It just doesn't exist anymore. And as Jacob saw when he was in Chennai, India, he saw the dashboards of these getting tested. He saw things down to the bloody wiper blades being tested. They're really put through their paces, and it shows, right? 14,000 kilometers, not a single rattle and squeak, which is really impressive. I had a Korean product, let's say, the other week, with just 1,000 kilometers that had 2 rattles and squeaks, and it was so annoying. Nothing here. In terms of day-to-day driving, it has been a pleasure. The steering is really quite light and just comfortable. There's nothing sporty about it. It's not pretending to be sporty. You turn a corner, there's definitely body roll, but it's not unexpected of a 7-seat SUV. And really, when you're just driving around town, it's rather pleasant. Oh, saucy corner! Let's go up saucy corner, boys and girls. The 90% of your boys. Here we go. Oh, polo tires. Oh, the other thing, the 6-speed Aisin torque converter transmission, it has been flawless. This is what I like about Indian car manufacturers is, unlike Korea, where they fight with Japan all the time and vice versa, you know, they never share products. India's like, oh yeah, what's the best transmission we can get for this? Oh, a 6-speed Aisin? Sure, let's get the Japanese transmission. And it's so much better for it. It's really good. Also, because there's mStallion, which, by the way, is 149.2 kilowatts at 380 newton meters of torque. Because this thing has a turbocharger on it, unlike a lot of other cars, you can really hear the induction noise. It just sounds very cool. If you're a car geek, you'll like that. The other thing I have used non-stop is the ADAS system here. This has some of the best active safety technology out there. It's non-intrusive. It doesn't just beep and bong at you all the time. If I set it on now, you can see that, yes, we are set. We have the green steering wheel. This thing will essentially drive itself down a highway or really anywhere. Obviously, you should never take your hands off the steering wheel, but no joke, it has been more reliable for me than the Tesla autopilot systems that I've been experiencing recently. It just drives itself so well, hooks up to the lane. It's so easy to live with. And if you want to turn it off, you turn it off and it stays off. So it's a win-win, right? Now, as I said, this isn't a review. It can't be because it's paid, but I can genuinely tell you, I can genuinely say this has been an awesome experience. I have not regretted driving this thing one bit. In fact, often I have found myself gravitating towards it because it just works and it does a great job. So yeah, overall, really impressed with how this thing has driven over a few thousand kilometers. It just has been magnifique. All right, mummies and daddies, let's get into our final thoughts. Final thoughts on the XUV700, wrapping up our long-term impressions. Paid or not, you guys know that I'm gonna give you my honest thoughts, and honestly, it has been fantastic. Sure, is the auto stop start system a little annoying? Yeah, they should probably change it, flashing the lights on and off. Sure, did this thing develop a weird tendency to turn off the screen and we had to take it back to the dealership? Absolutely. But that was all fixed under warranty, and honestly, it has not dampened my experience with the XUV700. You guys get to see the car and my thoughts on it. What you don't get to see is my interactions with Mahindra, my interactions with their engineers, or Jacob's when he went to Chennai in India. And not only is the XUV700 a really good product, like it's very, very good at a very good price, sub 40 grand for a 7-seat SUV with all this stuff. Not only that, but it is built by really passionate people who actually care about a product. I won't name names, but there's a lot of companies out there who are making cars that they do not love, and they're just trying to appeal to their investors. But really, Mahindra are going out there, they're putting in a lot of money into these cars. You can see that with the new engines, and they are making a really good product. Sponsored or not, that's genuinely what I truly believe. But you can let me know what you guys think of the XUV700, of Mahindra in general, down in the comments section. Do you like the XUV700 as much as we have? We've really liked it. Ciao for now.